we had been into the FATF grey list for about 4.5 years. And in our last meeting of the Pakistan Crypto Council and the Pivara, the finance minister pointed this out, that they want to go slow on a number of things because of the challenges on the front of the AML and CFT. So Pakistan has a serious concern over the money that gets into the system, be it crypto exchanges or RWA tokenization system. So how does your technology, how does this idea secures that only clean money makes to the system?
That's a tough question, really. I say that we do our, the best of our knowledge, the best we can, to have only identifiable persons utilizing the system. So you need to go and perform KYC before you can buy into any tokenized asset. But that doesn't solve the clean money issue. I think that's something that governments are more equipped to work on. And if they want to have 100% clean money flowing into any kind of system, they should start working much closer with the banks. Real estate is the biggest asset class in the world. Blocksquare is a company that works in this RWA sector. It specializes especially on real estate assets. So how to bring the value of a single real estate asset on chain in a digital way, or transform it into a digital asset, and then make that digital asset available for people to buy and trade. If you look at crypto is digitally native. It exists only in the digital world, while real world assets exist somewhere else. And that might be on paper, it might be on a piece of land. Basically, 99% of the world's wealth is in real world assets. That's when it comes to which asset class do I see the most benefit for the world to adopt, and obviously it's real estate. We see the stablecoin market being the one that is really lifting off. Fiat as a currency is something that is just like real estate. Started the company back in 2018. We're now tokenized around 200 million worth of real estate assets. How we kind of approach the market here is we provide the tools. So imagine a company in Pakistan who would like to enter into the real estate tokenization space, because now the regulatory certainty is there. They can come to us and they can, in a couple of weeks, basically, have all the infrastructure that's required to effectively do this in place. It's about us as a company providing tools to other companies. So it's a business to business relationship. We might have a company in Pakistan who would like to have their own marketplace running under their own brand, but they don't want to deal with the hurdles of setting everything up and discovering and the research and development required. So they come to us and they get an out-of-the-box solution.
In case of Pakistan, we've got a digital nation law, Pakistan Digital Authority, Pakistan Crypto Council, and then we have gotten this idea of Pakistan Digital Authority. So we've got 4 regulators apart from the central bank and the Securities and Exchange Commission. So who do you think is the right appropriate body to regulate the public blockchains?
That's a very tough question. And I don't know the answer to. I just believe that whoever is taking on this kind of regulation of public blockchains will have a hard time getting anywhere. Because one thing is trying to impact the public blockchains to work in a specific way. The other way around is to understand how these blockchains work, and then saying which blockchains are compliant with local jurisdiction. I think the second approach is the right one. Looking at the various options in the market and saying, okay, these blockchains are kind of endorsed by the regulator and to be compliant in their eyes. Well, we covered on the liquidity of the market. I think we're in a very interesting moment right now. If you zoom out and look all the macro
ہیں جو پاکستان سمیت دنیا میں کافی کچھ ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر ٹوکنائزیشن میں کام کر رہی ہے. دنیا کی اس وقت کہا جاتا ہے سب سے بڑی کمپنی ہے جس نے $200 ملین سے زیادہ کے جو ایسٹس ہیں ان کو ٹوکنائز کر دیا. پاکستان میں ایک کمپنی کو موقع لائسنس ایشو ہوا ہے لیکن گورنمنٹ بہت تیزی سے اس سیکٹر میں کام کرنے میں انٹرسٹڈ نظر آ رہی ہے. ڈینس نے تفصیل کے ساتھ بتایا کہ دنیا کے اندر جتنے بھی ریگولیٹرس ہیں وہ کافی تیزی سے کام کرتے ہیں اور دنیا کے اندر یہ جو چھوٹے ٹکٹس ہیں اس میں چھوٹے انویسٹر کی جو پروٹیکشن ہے وہ ہمیشہ ٹاپ پر ہوتی ہے. اور ان کا جو سافٹ ویئر ہے بلاکسکوائر کمپنی کا جو کہ پاکستان کے اندر کافی سارے جو سروس پرووائڈرز ہیں ان کی انڈرلائن ٹیکنالوجی کو استعمال کرتے ہیں. یہ کہتے ہیں کہ دس از ٹائم ٹیسٹڈ اینڈ ویریس جورسڈکشنز ٹیسٹڈ سولوشن, کیونکہ بہت سارے سروسز پرووائڈر جو ہیں یہ ایسی ریگولیٹر کے پاس جا کر اس کو وائٹ لیبل کر کے اور پریزنٹ کر رہے ہیں. پاکستان کے اندر جو قوانین سازی ہے وہ انہیں آخری میں جو ہے کم جنوری 2026 یہ ایک ریگولیٹری فریم ورک لیگل فریم ورک ول بی آؤٹ اور اس کی بیسس کے اوپر ہم دیکھیں گے کہ پاکستان کے اندر جو ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر ہے اس میں لوگوں کا سمجھنا ہے کہ کسی حد تک بوم آ جائے گا. بیکاز ابھی آپ جس بڑے ٹکٹ کے سائز کی وجہ سے ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر کی طرف نہیں دیکھتے ہیں وہاں پھر ایسا وقت آ جائے گا کہ 10,000 20,000 کے ٹکٹ سائز کے اوپر آپ کو ڈیولپمنٹ مال میں یا کسی بڑے پروجیکٹ میں کسی اپارٹمنٹ کے اندر ایک چھوٹی سی آپ کو شراکت مل جائے گی جس کے اندر رینٹل موڈ میں بھی اس ٹوکن کے اوپر انکم آ سکے گی, کیپٹل گین سائڈ میں بھی ٹوکن پہ انکم آ سکے گی. بالکل اسی طرح کہ جس طرح دبئی میں برج خلیفہ کے جو ٹوکنس ہیں وہ رینٹل سائڈ کے بھی اویلیبل ہیں, کیا کہتے ہیں ہزار درہم کے, اور کیپٹل گین سائز کے بھی سائڈ کے بھی اویلیبل ہیں. یعنی اگر اس کے ایک اسٹوڈیو اپارٹمنٹ کی قیمت بڑھتی ہے تو وہ جو ٹوکن 1000 درہم والا ہے اس کے اوپر 150 درہم اس وقت کے اوپر بڑھ جاتے ہیں اور جو اس کا کرایہ ہے وہ بھی پرسنٹیج ٹرم میں رینٹل ہے اس سے مل رہی ہوتی ہے. سو لگتا یوں ہے کہ پاکستان کے اندر دیر از اے لاٹ گوئنگ فارورڈ. اس طرح کی کال رہتی ہے. السانی انسٹیٹیوٹ جو ہے وہ سیٹرڈے کو ایک سیمینار بھی آرگنائز کر رہا ہے جسٹ ٹو گیو انڈرسٹینڈنگ, اور اس ویبینار سے بھی لوگوں کو ایک اچھی چیز کو انڈرسٹینڈ کرنے کا ان سمپلسٹ مینر گوئنگ فارورڈ ہمیں نظر آتا ہے کہ پاکستان کے اندر ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر میں جو تیزی ہوگی بوم ہوگا وہ بیکاز آف دا ٹوکنائزیشن ہوگا. اس چیز کے اوپر بات چیت تصدیق کا سلسلہ ناظرین آگے بھی جاری رکھیں گے. اجازت دیجیے. اللہ حافظ. اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. رب اشرح لی صدری ویسر لی امری واحلل عقدۃ من لسانی یفقہوا قولی. ناظرین, دس از ثانی خان اینڈ یو آر واچنگ نیو ایپیسوڈ آف انسائڈ فائنینشیل مارکیٹس. ناظرین, پاکستان کے اندر بہت ایکٹیولی ریئل اسٹیٹ ٹوکنائزیشن کے اوپر گورنمنٹ آف پاکستان جو ہے وہ کام کر رہی ہے. گورنمنٹ نے 3-4 اتھارٹیز بھی بنا دی ہیں, آرڈیننسز بھی آ گئے ہیں اور 1-2 آرڈیننسز کے اوپر فریم ورکس بھی جو ہیں ان کے بھی آنے کا سلسلہ جاری ہے. ون آف دا لیٹسٹ ڈیولپمنٹ واز کہ ورچوئل ایسٹ سروسز پرووائڈرز کے لیے ایکسپریشن آف انٹرسٹ جو ہے وہ بھی پیوارا نے کال کر لیا. دیٹ مینس کہ کرپٹو کونسل ہو, ڈیجیٹل نیشن لا ہو, پاکستان ڈیجیٹل اتھارٹی ہو, پیوارا ہو, دے آر آل ان سنک اینڈ دے ہیو اے کلیئرٹی کہ پاکستان کے اندر جو 550 کھرب کے ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر کے اثاثے ہیں ان کو ٹوکنائز کیا جانا چاہیے ہے. آئی ایم ایف, ورلڈ بینک اور دیگر انسٹیٹیوشنز جو دنیا کے ہیں وہ یہ سمجھتے ہیں کہ پاکستان کے اندر جو لو ٹیکس بیس ہے اس کی سب سے بڑی وجہ یہ ہے کہ بگ ٹکٹ سائزز کی وجہ سے جو پاورفل اسٹیک ہولڈرز ہیں وہ میک شور کرتے ہیں کہ چیزیں ڈاکیومنٹ نہ ہو اور ان کے اوپر ٹیکس بھی کلیکٹ نہیں ہو. بیکاز اگر پاکستان کے اندر یہ والے چیلنجز ایڈریس کر دیے جائیں تو پاکستان کو شاید IMF ورلڈ بینک کے پاس بار بار جانے کی ضرورت نہیں رہے گی. یہی وجہ ہے شاید کہ پاکستانی حکومت, پاکستانی اسٹیبلشمنٹ از ناؤ ویری کلیئر کہ پاکستان کے اندر چھوٹے ٹکٹ سائزز کے جو ٹوکنس ہیں وہ اویلیبل ہوں, جس سے جو ٹیکس کا ٹکٹ ہے وہ بھی چھوٹا ہو جائے. کسی کو 1 بلین کا ٹیکس دینا پڑ رہا ہو ورسز ہزار کے ٹیکس کے ٹکٹس دینے والے کو ہزاروں لاکھوں لوگ اگر میدان میں آ جائیں تو جو بڑا اسٹیک ہولڈر ہے اس کو بھی بہت زیادہ اس میں تکلیف نہیں ہوگی. سو واٹ از ہیپننگ آن آل آف دیز فرنٹس, ان کو ڈسکس کرنے کے لیے ہم نے فیصلہ کیا کہ ہم بات چیت کریں. دنیا کی ایک بہت بڑی کمپنی ہے بلاک اسکوائر, جو ریئل اسٹیٹ ٹوکنائزیشن کے لیے دنیا میں جانی جاتی ہے. اس کے CEO ہیں ڈینس. ان سے ہم آج بات چیت کریں گے اور سمجھنے کی کوشش کریں گے کہ پاکستان کے بارے میں ان کا ویژن اور ان کی تھاٹس کیا ہیں. پاکستان کے اندر گورنمنٹ جو بہت تیزی سے کام کر رہی ہے, تو پاکستان سے باہر کی جو کمپنیز ہیں وہ پاکستان میں آ کے ٹوکنائزیشن میں کس طریقے سے مارکیٹ کے پلیئرس اور اسٹیک ہولڈرس کو اور ریگولیٹرس کو ہیلپ آؤٹ کرنا چاہتی ہے. سو آپ بات چیت سنیے, ڈینس سے ہماری کیا بات چیت ہوتی ہے, اور آخر کے اندر ہم اس کے اوپر ایک تبصرہ اور تجزیہ بھی دیں گے. سو ڈینس, ویلکم ٹو دا شو.
Very well, very good. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Fantastic, fantastic. A lot is happening globally when it comes to RWA tokenization, and similarly a lot is happening in Pakistan too. So our agenda is to take the first-hand information from one of the biggest player of this tokenization, RWA tokenization industry segment. So to begin with, I would want you to kindly explain this very concept as to what this RWA tokenization is and how does it differ from crypto?
Well, first of all, let's dissect what real world assets really are. It's essentially anything you can see or not see, and it exists in the so-called real world. So it's not digitally native.
Okay.
So by that definition, if you look at crypto is digitally native. It exists only in the digital world, while real world assets exist somewhere else. And that might be on paper, it might be on a piece of land, it might be in the form of a rare commodity. It might be, something that is a business process or a know-how. So real world assets, right now, we have a couple categories that everybody knows about, but I believe as this evolution progresses, we're going to see new asset classes emerging from this movement.
Good. And how about the size of this industry segment, RWA token size? Do we have some statistics available? What is the global size of this industry segment?
I can speak about real estate. In my professional work,
Okay.
I really focus on the real estate segment of the real estate asset class. And real estate is the biggest asset class in the world. But of course, then there's other asset classes that also fall in the real world assets category. And here we're talking about trillions. Basically, 99% of the world's wealth is in real world assets.
That's great. What are the most recent developments? Which market attracts you more, you love more, working for that market? And when you look at Pakistan, how do you look at Pakistani market? You see some value, you see some attraction. As I just mentioned you off the record, that a lot of regulatory development has taken place. So what is the relevance as to what is happening to the global market and what is happening in Pakistan?
I mean, my preference, I'm very biased when it comes to which asset class do I see the most benefit for the world to adopt. And obviously it's real estate. My belief comes from the fact that real estate is an asset. It's the largest asset class in the world, but it's also an asset that everybody knows. You either live in it, you rent it out, you use it for for your during your job, or you walk on it. There's always real estate surrounding us, for as long as we have this physical form, of course. Now, when it comes to tokenization, currently in this RWA niche, we see the stablecoin market being the one that is really lifting off, and the main reason for it is because there's clear utility within crypto for stablecoins. And so it's kind of a safe haven for traders. And on the other hand, it's becoming a very profitable business for a couple of issuers that have grown really, so much in the past years. And fiat as a currency is something that is just like real estate. It's something that's an asset class that is known to every human being that ever bought something somewhere.
That's
and
great.
So I think it has certain relationships with real estate. As if you go then into the stock market, for instance, or into commodities, this is much more exotic, professional real world assets that only a handful of people are really focusing on investing and then touching it and analyzing it. So it doesn't have that broadness as an asset class. Now, the second part of your question was in relation to Pakistan. I think when it comes to real world assets tokenization, all countries in the world will need to adopt this some way or another. And I think it's not, the play should not be to wait around for years and then have something imposed on you. It should come right away. Governments should be doing this right away. And I love seeing the Pakistani government, jumping on board and doing so much for it, because it's not just by saying, you sign certain documents, say, hey, this is the direction we're going, but it's about educating the personnel, the people working in this sector that's going to help the adoption process that is really key, and it's this education that starts when governments take a stance for a specific advancement in this case, the adoption of tokenizing real world assets and bringing this in a regulated and safe manner to the market.
Understood. Government has recently embarked testing of the fiat currency, and they say that in 2 months' time this testing will be over. They're really going fast. Blocksquare. So how does this idea came to you or the founders? How much older this idea and this company is? And when we talk about technology, if we were to get to understand in the simplest way as to what this idea of this Blocksquare is.
Blocksquare is a company that works in this RWA sector. It specializes especially on real estate assets. So how to bring the value of a single real estate asset on chain in a digital way, or transform it into a digital asset, and then make that digital asset available for people to buy and trade. Now, we started the company back in 2018 officially, and we're now tokenized around 200 million worth of real estate assets in almost 30 countries. And how we kind of approach the market here is we provide the tools. So imagine a company in Pakistan who would like to enter into the real estate tokenization space, because now the regulatory certainty is there. They can come to us and they can, in a couple of weeks, basically, have all the infrastructure that's required to effectively do this in place.
नाज़रीन, वक्त हुआ चाहता है छोटे से वक्फे का। वक्फे के बाद बातचीत का सिलसिला डेनिस के साथ यहीं से शुरू करेंगे। डोंट गो नोवेयर, लेट्स मीट आफ्टर शॉर्ट ब्रेक। हाउ दिस Blocksquare tokenization protocol and this scheme of white labeling, setting up market quickly without coding, how does it work? If you were to, since we have less time, I would request you to kindly explain this in a minute's time.
So first of all, it's about us as a company providing tools to other companies. So it's a business-to-business relationship. We might have a company in Pakistan who would like to have their own marketplace running under their own brand, but they don't want to deal with the hurdles of setting everything up and discovering and the research and development required. So they come to us and they get an out-of-the-box solution. What it means, tokenization protocol. Essentially, it's an end-to-end solution that, as the output, always outputs the same token type, if you will. In our case, this protocol enables you to transform any type of real estate asset into the same token form. It's always 100,000 tokens that's emitted, and it means that 1,000 tokens represent 1% of the value of that real estate asset. So if you own 5,000 tokens, you're a 5% holder in the economic benefits of that, or economic interests in that real estate asset.
So when people understand this, that this white labeling idea and setting up this marketplace is like doing something very quickly, can you quote an example of any customer, any market, any jurisdictions where this thing could have taken place in a week or a month's time?
Essentially, we're really jurisdiction agnostic. When it comes to the digital part of the tokenization protocol, it's applicable anywhere. When it comes to the legal side of it, because part of that protocol is also the legal solution to it, there's obviously nuances from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But we've been able to tokenize real estate in more than 25 countries, as I said, and I think we're closing in on 30 countries right now. And I think that kind of proves that this is really viable worldwide. And the good part is that it's always the same recipe, and that recipe is not complicated. So it's something that any company that is in the real estate sector can actually execute.
But can we have an idea as to how long does it take from its inception, from its start, till the launch of the marketplace? Does it take months, year, half year?
We're talking here about a couple of weeks. It depends on the other team, the client. We need certain information, and we need, let's say somebody who can set up things on their domain side. So it's not rocket science, definitely not. We can go as fast as doing it in a couple of days, really, if this is required. But usually, the process of launching a marketplace like this is a preparation over a couple of months. And the technical setup is just one part of it, of course, because you're essentially launching a new service, a new online shop, if you will. But the customer here is purchasing real estate instead of shoes.
Okay, so for monetary matters, globally, the practice is that we do have a central bank regulating such affairs, and for securities matter, we have a securities market regulator when it comes to virtual assets and the tools like the public blockchains. Who do you see the best authority is to manage and regulate these affairs?
It depends how the tokenization is structured. Now, in our case, of course, is the financial authority regulator that should be involved, at least when we're discovering a new market together with a partner. Then I would say the framework we provide also includes notarization. So if there's a land registry system in place in the country where real estate is present and where our partner is, then we would then need to explore avenues through discussion with a notary or a lawyer that is able to act as notary. And then, of course, it's as well the real estate regulation that is in place. Usually that's the easiest part, because in the end, it is a token, a digital asset that is being outputted from this process. And usually the real estate regulation is not as critical when looking at everything here. And then in the end, it's always about taxation as well. So understanding how the implications of how let's say revenue payouts would be taxed in the jurisdiction, and what are the obligations by the marketplace operator in terms of AML, so KYC, and so forth. But these things are more or less a set of questions that is very clear, and it's not something that we haven't done before. So it's definitely, we can guide you through the process here.
Okay, Dennis, it's time for a very, very short break. Welcome back, नाज़रीन. नाज़रीन, डेनिस ने प्रोग्राम के पहले सेगमेंट में हमें तफसील के साथ बताया कि 30 से ज़्यादा जुरिस्डिक्शंस के अंदर ब्लॉक स्क्वायर कंपनी काम कर रही है, और दुनिया के 99.99% जो रियल वर्ल्ड एसेट है, रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर है, उसकी ऑटोमेशन, डिजिटाइजेशन एंड डिजिटलाइजेशन जो है इज़ हैपन्स टू बी द वे फॉरवर्ड. उन्होंने हमें ये भी बताया कि लीगल जो फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा डिपेंड करते हैं कि कितनी तेज़ी से ये कॉन्सेप्ट जो है किसी भी जुरिस्डिक्शन में अडॉप्ट किया जा सकता है. प्रोग्राम के इस सेगमेंट में वी विल ट्राई एंड टच बेस विद द गेट कीपर आइडिया कि AML-CFT वो चीज़ है जिसकी वजह से पाकिस्तान फेटफ की ग्रे लिस्ट में 3-4 सालों तक रहा और काफ़ी मसाइल का शिकार रहा. सो हम इनसे समझने की कोशिश करेंगे कि ये जो गेट कीपर है AML-CFT, इसको ब्लॉक स्क्वायर कैसे सिक्योर करता है, कैसे मेक श्योर करता है कि जो क्लीन मनी है सिर्फ वो ही सिस्टम के अंदर आ सके. So Mr. Denis, there is a serious and a very decent problem with the Pakistani jurisdiction. We had been into the FATF grey list for about 4.5 years. And in our last meeting of the Pakistan Crypto Council and the Pivara, the finance minister pointed this out, that they want to go slow on a number of things because of the challenges on the front of the AML and CFT. They want to make sure that there isn't anything under the name, title, scheme, or the framework of the crypto exchanges or RWA tokenization or whatsoever. The central bank has actually linked the Pivara regulations and the framework with the foreign exchange currency controls. So Pakistan has a serious concern over the money that gets into the system, be it crypto exchanges or RWA tokenization system. So how does your technology, how does this idea secures that only clean money makes to the system?
That's a tough question, really. I say that we do our, the best of our knowledge, the best we can, to have only identifiable persons utilizing the system. So you need to go and perform KYC before you can buy into any tokenized asset. But that doesn't solve the clean money issue. I think that's something that governments are more equipped to work on. And if they want to have 100% clean money flowing into any kind of system, they should start working much closer with the banks that they already work with and solve problems there. And crypto, I don't think it's what's bringing the issues. The issues are already there in the traditional financial system.
When we say this is an easy to use white labeling platform, anybody and any entity who is legally qualified could get into it. So in a way, we are trying to say that there could be leakages, there could be some compromises, and to overcome those compromises and the tough compliance related questions, only government and the banks need to work. And without that, this product, this concept, this idea is not going to ensure and secure that only white money comes into the white labeling system. Correct?
Correct.
Fantastic. So would you mind quoting one or two examples of the jurisdictions where you could have serious issues And you may have worked a lot with the regulator, the central bank, the VARA, or the Securities Exchange regulator.
Well, essentially, we haven't had any issues so far. It's such a new concept, even though we started years ago, that regulators are touching this only now because they need to touch it, because of regulation that comes in place. Like in Europe, for instance, we have MiCA regulation, and that requires regulators to listen to us, even though before they were not touching this really, because it's not tokenization of securities, but it's tokenization of economic rights that derive from asset ownership. So it's a different thing. And now, thankfully, we have regulators that are coming to sessions with us and talking about this. They're listening to what we're saying, and we're getting feedback from them. And I think in the next year or two, these conversations will bring much more clarity to the overall markets. And I love seeing the development happening in the US now with crypto laws coming into force. And the US is really pushing hard to make up for time lost in the previous years before Trump.
So US is doing fantastic. Singapore has done well. And Middle East, sometimes people refer it as the capital of the crypto exchanges globally. So it happens to be a center of technology these days. Do you have some plans to penetrate into the South Asian markets like India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan?
Definitely. I mean, our technology, as I said, is jurisdiction agnostic. We had inquiries in the past also from India, reputable companies getting in touch with us. It might have been too early at the time. There was no clarity around crypto whatsoever. I think things are changing now. And with the changes happening in Pakistan, I think, we're definitely going to see partners coming from Pakistan as well. And I'm sure we can help them.
Fantastic. How about this market risk, liquidity risk, and the challenge of the downsize? Because when we say that a small size ticket can bring a lot of liquidity, but how about the controls and the protection of the investor? We just saw the Mantra coin thing. Can this happen to the RWA tokens?
RWA tokens are a very broad concept. So it's always the underlying. How is it structured and what security it really brings? And I know that when we talk about tokenizing real estate, we want to offer the same level of protection banks have against properties in their portfolio. So you want to get on one side, institutional grade protection, and on the other side, reduce ticket size so that every person that with an internet connection can buy into real estate and get exposure to that asset class.
So when it comes to the regulatory framework, regulations, do you have a framework of ensuring that your system solution complies to the local jurisdiction's regulatory framework? Do you have a mechanism there?
Yes, more or less it's there. What we learned so far is that in every jurisdiction we go, it's always kind of the same. It has nuances, small differences, but the way we tokenize real estate, it's exactly can be the same in every jurisdiction, yeah.
So do you have a plan as to how to help Pakistani technology companies who are seeking to move forward? I just mentioned you that there are about 25 REIT management companies, and there are about half a dozen technology players who are seeking to register themselves as a crypto exchange. So when it comes to the tokenization of the real estate sector in Pakistan, the government is pretty not only conscious but more than interested to go fast in this direction. So do you have a specific plans to help the government, to help the technology companies who wish to join hands and develop this market?
Definitely. I think we have a lot to bring on the table for Pakistan from the experiences gained outside of Pakistan. We have friends there as well, and I think, if there's multiple players putting their brains together, and there's definitely ways to overcome any obstacles that there might be. It's just about getting the right people in the same room, and then having enough time to see where the issues lie and what is preventing anything from happening. But I think that there's no mountains that we can't climb, especially with the experience we had gained so far.
Right. I got a very specific question about the public blockchains. There are some of our viewers who have requested to get this information from you as to who regulates the public blockchains globally. And in case of Pakistan, we've got a Digital Nation Law, Pakistan Digital Authority, Pakistan Crypto Council, and then we have gotten this idea of Pakistan Digital Authority. So we've got 4 regulators apart from the central bank and the Securities and Exchange Commission. So who do you think is the right appropriate body to regulate the public blockchains?
That's a very tough question. And I don't know the answer to. I just believe that whoever is taking on this kind of regulation of public blockchains will have a hard time getting anywhere. Because one thing is trying to impact the public blockchains to work in a specific way. The other way around is to understand how these blockchains work, and then saying which blockchains are compliant with local jurisdiction. I think the second approach is the right one. So looking at the various options on the market and saying, okay, these blockchains are kind of endorsed by the regulator and to be compliant in their eyes.
Okay. So Denis, we are running short of time. We want you to make a comment on the liquidity in the secondary market first, and then the floor is open to you if you want to give a message to the stakeholders, to the regulators, and the Pakistan Crypto Council, which is really, really very active in terms of going forward with the tokenization of real estate sector asset in Pakistan.
Well, comment on the liquidity on the market. I think we're in a very interesting moment right now. And if you zoom out and look all the macros, you see that there's a lot of liquidity coming generally on the financial markets. How that will translate, we don't know exactly, but I believe that there's a lot of changes that are going to be happening, and a lot of assets are going to be kind of revalued because of this liquidity. In terms of my last statements, I'd just like to thank you for having me on this show, and keep on pushing in general. And I think Pakistan has definitely a space in the digital assets market, and the government is doing the right step in the right direction, and it's going to be just about openness. How open will the government be to outsiders? They're not maybe coming from Pakistan, but might bring a lot of knowledge from elsewhere, and if they are open, we are open to collaborate, of course.
Okay, great. Denis, thank you for taking out time and talking to us and our viewers. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
नाज़रीन, आज के प्रोग्राम में शरीक गुफ्तगू रहे डेनिस, जो कि CEO हैं ब्लॉक स्क्वायर के। ये नाज़रीन वो कंपनी है जो पाकिस्तान समेत दुनिया में काफ़ी कुछ रियल एस्टेट सेक्टर टोकनाइजेशन पे काम कर रही है। दुनिया की इस वक्त कहा जाता है सबसे बड़ी कंपनी है जिसने $200 मिलियन से ज़्यादा के जो एसेट्स हैं उनको टोकनाइज कर दिए। पाकिस्तान में एक कंपनी को के लाइसेंस इशू हुआ है, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट बहुत तेज़ी से इस सेक्टर में काम करने में इंटरेस्टेड नज़र आ रही है। डेनिस ने हमें तफसील के साथ बताया कि दुनिया के अंदर جتنے بھی ریگولیٹرس ہیں وہ کافی تیزی سے کام کرتے ہیں، اور دنیا کے اندر یہ جو چھوٹے ٹکٹس ہیں اس میں چھوٹے انویسٹر کی جو پروٹیکشن ہے وہ ہمیشہ ٹاپ پر ہوتی ہے. اور ان کا جو سافٹ ویئر ہے بلاک اسکوائر کمپنی کا، جو کوئی پاکستان کے اندر کافی سارے جو سروس پرووائڈرز ہیں ان کی انڈر لائن ٹیکنالوجی کو استعمال کرتے ہیں. یہ کہتے ہیں کہ دس از ٹائم ٹیسٹڈ اینڈ ویریس جورسڈکشنز ٹیسٹڈ سولوشن، جو کہ بہت سارے سروسز پرووائڈر جو ہیں وہ گورنمنٹ میں، ایس ای سی پی میں اور دوسری ریگولیٹر کے پاس جا کر اس کو وائٹ لیبل کر کے اور لوگوں کو پریزنٹ کر رہے ہیں. پاکستان کے اندر جو قوانین سازی ہے وہ اپنے آخری مرحلے میں ہے، اور یوں لگتا ہے کہ کم جنوری 2026 یہ ایک ریگولیٹری فریم ورک، لیگل فریم ورک ول بی آؤٹ، اور اس کی بیسس کے اوپر ہم دیکھیں گے کہ پاکستان کے اندر جو ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر ہے اس میں لوگوں کا سمجھنا ہے کہ کسی حد تک بوم آ جائے گا. بیکاز ابھی آپ جس بڑے ٹکٹ کے سائز کی وجہ سے ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر کی طرف نہیں دیکھتے ہیں، وہاں پھر ایسا وقت آ جائے گا کہ 10,000 20,000 کے ٹکٹ سائز کے اوپر آپ کو ڈولمن مال میں یا کسی بڑے پروجیکٹ میں کسی اپارٹمنٹ کے اندر ایک چھوٹی سی آپ کو شراکت مل جائے گی، جس کے اندر رینٹل موڈ میں بھی اس ٹوکن کے اوپر انکم آ سکے گی، کیپٹل گین سائڈ پہ بھی آپ کو ٹوکن پہ انکم آ سکے گی. بالکل اسی طرح کہ جس طرح دبئی میں برج خلیفہ کے جو ٹوکنز ہیں وہ رینٹل سائٹ کے بھی اویلیبل ہیں، کیا کہتے ہیں 1000 درہم کے، اور کیپٹل گین سائٹ کے بھی اویلیبل ہیں. یعنی اگر اس کے ایک اسٹوڈیو اپارٹمنٹ کی قیمت بڑھتی ہے تو وہ جو ٹوکن 1000 درہم والا ہے اس کے اوپر 150 درہم آپ کو مہینے سوا مہینے میں بڑھ جاتے ہیں، اور جو اس کا کرایہ ہے وہ بھی پرسنٹیج ٹرم میں 14-15% آپ کو رینٹل ییلڈ اس سے مل رہی ہوتی ہے. سو لگتا یوں ہے کہ پاکستان کے اندر دیر از اے لاٹ ٹو انفولڈ، اے لاٹ از ہیپننگ، اینڈ گوئنگ فارورڈ کس طرح کی ڈیولپمنٹ رہتی ہے. الصادق انسٹیٹیوٹ جو ہے وہ سیٹرڈے کے دن ایک بہت اچھا ویبینار بھی آرگنائز کر رہا ہے جسٹ ٹو گیو این انڈرسٹینڈنگ، اور اس ویبینار سے بھی لوگوں کو ایک اچھی چیز کو انڈرسٹینڈ کرنے کا ان اے سمپلسٹ مینر موقع ملا. اینڈ گوئنگ فارورڈ ہمیں نظر آتا ہے کہ پاکستان کے اندر ریئل اسٹیٹ سیکٹر میں جو تیزی ہوگی، بوم ہوگا، وہ بیکاز آف دا ٹوکنائزیشن ہوگا. اس چیز کے اوپر بات چیت تجزیے کا سلسلہ ناظرین آگے بھی جاری رکھیں گے. اجازت دیجیے، اللہ حافظ.